Imagine waking up one sunny, bright day just to find out that the very biological markers that prove you exist, like your face, your voice, even the shape of your eyes, have just been leaked onto the dark web and what is increasingly being called one of the most catastrophic security failures in the whole AI startup space. So, in early April of this year, the $10 billion AI powerhouse Mercor, a name that I assume most of you probably didn't even know until clicking on this video, but whose technology is woven into the very fabric of the apps that we use every single day, officially confirmed that they were the victim of a massive supply chain attack that essentially handed the keys of operations and their data to malicious actors. We're talking about a total breach of official government ID documents paired directly with the highly sensitive biometric training data used to teach the next generation of AI models. This isn't just another corporate data leak where you can just change a password and move on. This is very concerning for biometrics as a secure form of authentication. Because when the blueprints of your own face and also the frequency of your voice are floating online in a 50 TB database on a dark web, there's no reset button. Mercor supplies the foundational training data for giants like Meta and even OpenAI, meaning that the very systems designed to protect us from deepfakes were trained on the data that has now been stolen to create them, creating a perfect loop of insecurity that experts are saying could take possibly decades to untangle. If you ever use a liveness check to open a bank account or verify your identity on a social media platform in the last 2 years, you need to understand exactly how this breach happened and why the digital ID future we were promised kind of just turned into a high-tech nightmare. It's always been one. So to truly understand the scale of this Morcor breach, you do have to look at the supply chain nature of the attack, which is a tech equivalent of a thief stealing the master key to every vault in the bank, for example, by simply robbing the locksmith. So Mercor wasn't just storing names and emails, they were the primary repository for the raw biometric data used to refine the facial recognition and also voice synthesis engines for the world's largest AI companies, making them the holy grail target for a sophisticated state sponsored or also an organized criminal group. The attackers then just go through the front door of Mercor servers themselves. That would be too obvious. Instead, they targeted a third-party vendor to handle the ingestion of ID documents, injecting a malicious payload that sat silently for months, scraping every single passport, driver's license, and 3D facial map that passed through the system. This means that if you upload a selfie to verify your age on I think a Meta-owned platform, or went through a KYC process for also a crypto exchange that use OpenAI integrated tools, your most private data could have potentially been caught in that whole thing. The sheer density of this data is what makes it very valuable. Hackers didn't just get I don't know, a picture of your ID. They got the HD resolution biometric telemetry that tells an AI exactly how your skin reflects light and how your jaw moves when you speak. This is the absolute gold standard for identity thieves because it actually allows them to construct what pretty much security researchers call, I believe, master deepfakes. Very realistic avatars that are so accurate that they can fool the liveness detection algorithms that banks and government agencies use to prevent fraud. We're entering an era where potentially a video call from your boss or a voice note from your child can no longer be trusted. The fallout of this breach is already sending shockwaves throughout the tech industry, as the $10 billion valuation of Mercor has essentially been evaporated overnight. That's cool, but the real cost is being felt by the millions of users whose digital IDs are now permanently compromised. Security experts are potentially warning that this leak has effectively handed malicious actors a bypass kit for modern digital identity checks. Because once an attacker has your high fidelity voice print and a facial map, they can use generative AI to potentially perform real-time liveness tests, blinking when the prompt says to blink and turning their head when the system asks for a side profile. This essentially renders the current infrastructure of digital banking and secure government access kind of obsolete, as these systems were built on the assumption that a live video feed of a human face was an unhackable proof of actually being real. And we are now potentially seeing reports of synthetic identity theft, where hackers aren't just like stealing existing accounts, but creating entirely new personas using a mix of leaked biometric data and AI generated history, making it nearly impossible for credit bureaus or law enforcement to even tell the difference between a real citizen and an AI driven ghost. Like Meta and OpenAI have issued statements distancing themselves from the breach, but the reality is that their models could be poisoned already by the fact the data they were trained on is now out in the wild, being used to train the very adversarial models that will eventually try and defeat them. What makes the Mercor situation even more terrifying is the whole permanent nature of biometric data. Unlike a credit card number or a password, you cannot change your face, your fingerprints, or your voice, meaning that the victims of this recent breach are potentially compromised for the rest of their lives. We are looking at a future where we might have to go back to analog forms of security, like physical hardware keys or in-person verification, simply because the digital version of our identity has been so thoroughly corrupted by leaks like this and future ones. The Mercor dump is probably being traded in pieces across the web, with high-value ID packages containing the data of CEOs, politicians, and celebrities, probably fetching a lot of money, while the data of average citizens is probably being sold in bulk to automated scam farms that use AI to mass produce fraudulent loan applications, for example. This is the dark side of the whole AI rise, because these tools that are meant to make our lives more convenient are becoming the very weapons used to dismantle our security. If you're watching this and wondering what you can do, you might have to go back to the old forms, get a YubiKey rather than facial recognition, and be very vigilant about the communication that asks for identity verification. You gotta be very careful. And this whole breach is the Chernobyl of the AI age. Reminded that when we build massive centralized silos of our most important data, we're creating a big target that when hit, it's truly cooked. As we move forward from this whole April disaster, the conversation around digital ID is going to shift from convenience to what can we do, as governments around the world are forced to reckon with the fact that their push for a paperless society has left the identities of their own citizens vulnerable to a single point of failure. The Mercor leak, it exposed the fundamental flaw of our modern tech stack, which is the belief that complex algorithms can replace the simple physical truth of a human being standing in a room. We're likely to see a massive wave of litigation against Mercor, which I think has already happened, but no amount of money can buy back the privacy that was lost when those servers were breached, and the precedent this sets for other AI companies is pretty chilling. A company valued at 10 billion with probably very good security talent in the world can lose the biological keys to millions of people, then no one is safe. And we have to ask ourselves if the benefits of AI integrated biometrics and AI in general is worth the risk of a total identity collapse. So yeah, that's it for this video. If anything to say, just type a comment, and yeah, I'll see you next time.